Hi, I'm Scott.
I'm Matt, hi.
And we're from HireWindow, and today we're going to be talking about that interview question, Matt, where people ask, where do you see yourself in 5 years? So, Matt, first of all, from a recruiter's point of view, why do recruiters ask this question?
I think there is a couple of ways of answering the question as to why recruiters ask that question. I think a lot of recruiters probably ask it because they always have, and it's sort of a traditional interview question, and maybe they're not entirely sure what it is they're looking for. Others, I think, are probably looking for some sense of understanding the direction you want to take your career in. They're obviously looking for a sense of ambition, understanding of where you might be in 5 years' time, and I guess realistic expectations as well. Wanting, if you're looking at a sort of a student who's graduating at 21 and they say, I want to be the chief this or that officer by the time I'm 26, maybe they need to sort of tone things down a bit. So I think, as I say, some people ask it just because they ask it, and those who are asking it for a real genuine reason, I think it's just, as I say, an understanding of ambition in your career and really wanting to progress and move forward.
And so how can students prepare to answer this type of question?
I think the only way you can prepare to answer that question is to understand where you want to get to in your career longer term, and then reverse engineering it from there, essentially. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be able to say, I want to be the director of this department in this business by this age.
Yeah.
It might be more that you know the kind of work that will interest you, the challenges that you want in your career. So it doesn't have to be kind of hard, fast facts. It might just be that actually you're really keen to lead a team working on interesting projects, this, that, and the other. So it doesn't have to be kind of, as I say, hard, fast, detailed rules of I must be doing this job at this age. Yeah. It might just be actually, here is what I want out of my career, and therefore where I want to get to, essentially.
And students spending some time sort of to plan out what they think the career path might look like, which we did a video on a couple of weeks ago, which you can go back and watch. That type of thing could be really helpful as well. Yeah,
completely. And like I say, that career path that you're planning out doesn't have to look like I want to have this job, then this job, then this job, then this job. Like I say, it can simply be, well, here's actually what interests me, what challenges me, what gets me out of bed in the morning. So here's kind of where I think I might head. Here's where I might end up. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to plan your whole life up, basically.
And so when you're in the interview and you get that question thrown at you, how best can you answer it?
I think that you probably want, if you can answer it in terms of, I want to be working in this type of role. And there's some kind of vocations, some professions where that is really easy to do. Ones where there's quite clear set career paths, maybe ones with professional qualifications as well, for example. Yeah. You can talk about that kind of stuff. So if you can say, actually, in 5 years' time, I want to be an established consultant qualified in X working with this type of client, that's great. But if you can't say that kind of detail, then I think, answer the question by saying, well, here's what's attracted me to this career in the first place. Here's where I see myself going forward, and you can add some flavour and some colour around that, and that might be, I want to lead a team, I want to work on this type of project, I want to work on the cutting edge of this technology. So go as detailed as you can, but there's always a way to answer it, even if you don't have a set idea in your head as the actual kind of position that you'll hold in 5 years' time.
And what about, I'm thinking there's almost a temptation at times to think you have to answer that with that company in mind.
Sure. Yeah.
You might not actually see yourself in that company for 5 years. How can you kind of get around that, or should you be honest and say, I don't see myself here for 5 years, or?
It's really difficult actually to answer that question, because some companies are very open-minded, and if you said actually in 5 years' time I want to start my own business, they'd admire that and they think that's exactly the type of spirit they want to bring on board. Others would be less keen on hearing that kind of thing, because they think, well, we're about to hire you, we're going to invest in you, and we kind of want you to stay for long term. Yeah. So there's no one answer to that question. I would tend to just opt for honesty, though, because if you are interviewing with an organisation and you say, actually, what I really want to do is start a business in 5 years' time, I want to get experience, I want to start my own business in 5 years' time, and their response to that is to be put off and horrified, and they think that's not the type of person that we're looking for, it's not the right organisation for you anyway. So an honest exchange, I think, is always the best bet. Even if it means you don't get the job, it means you won't get the job for the right reasons.
And what if you genuinely you don't know what you want to be in 5 years? What can you say to not dodge the question, but
yeah, I think again, be honest about that. You can say, actually, I really don't know, but you can then revert to talking about why you're interested in the job you're applying for, what's grabbed your attention, what you think you're going to enjoy about it, and expand from there and say, well, look, I think I'm going to really enjoy this. This is what's attracted me to the company. This is what's attracted me to the job. In 5 years' time, therefore, I hope to be still focused on those things. Maybe I'm wrong about this. Maybe I'm right about that, and just kind of answer it in that way.
And many sort of graduate jobs can be quite broad, can't they? So it might be as simple as saying, within 5 years, I want to have found my specialty in something that I really enjoy and can focus all my efforts on that.
That's a really good answer. That's a really good answer. You know, the kind of, I'm interested in this industry, this type of role. I don't know yet which part of it is going to be most compelling to me as a career. So in 5 years' time, I want to be absolutely nailed down that that's the thing that I enjoy most and want to go on and do. That's a great question.
And have you got any final tips or advice on how to answer this question?
No, I think that I'd come back to that point around being really honest about it, and that there is no wrong answer. As we said, there is an answer to the question. If you don't know, there is an answer. If you don't see yourself in that company in 5 years' time, there is an answer. If you do, so I would just be really honest about it. The last thing that you want to do though is kind of say I don't know and then stop. So if you don't know, at least have something extra to add to that and say it, and sort of give some real thought to answering the question, at least in a half meaningful way.
Well, hope you found that useful, and there's lots of information and tips like this to help you guide through your career available on the HireWindow blog. And if you're a STEM student looking for your perfect grad job, sign up at HireWindow.com.